Hey everyone, Dave here talking to you today about one of my favorite subjects, that's hiring contractors. And specifically, we're talking about a scenario where you are rehabbing a property that you want to turn into a short-term rental or STR with a bonus consideration of you want to take advantage of bonus depreciation and do a big cost segregation study. So it needs to be done like this year, next 6 months. So you hit that tax deadline. So we want to ask them a bunch of stuff. I'm not going to bother to read this list, but we want to talk about their experience, their work with subcontractors, STR-specific design decisions, how they get paid. And then this last one, you might not want to reserve for the end. Make sure they're going to give you references, investors who have actually used them for projects. If they're not willing to do this, it's a deal breaker. But most of this is pretty important. Some of it's optional. So experience and fit. If you're doing a full gut or major renovation, how many of these have they done in the last 3 years? How many were investor owned versus personal residences? Have you done work on short-term rentals specifically? And can you show me before and after photos and addresses for similar projects? This, like right here, probably will exclude 60 or 70% of the people that you talk to. This is going to be an exercise in some cases. Maybe you'll get lucky out of the gate, but you may have to talk to quite a few people before you even get good answers to this first set of questions. Change orders, they happen. Unexpected things happen on projects. So how do you handle change orders? We want to see a clear written change order process, ideally. Ask what typically causes cost overruns and how do you help prevent that? What percentage of your projects finish on time within the original budget? We don't want a lot of vague stuff here. We'll figure it out. No, it doesn't work. And this, I've never actually succeeded at this one, but serious contractors will, in some cases, give you a worst case budget now or a not to exceed number. So ask for it, see how they respond. Again, you're almost never going to bat 1,000 and get answers to all of these questions. If you do, I want to meet that contractor, by the way, because I'll probably hire them. But ask these things. And if people aren't willing to have open discussion, again, red flag, even if they don't give you the answer that they want or that you want. Timeline certainty. So what's your realistic start and completion date for this project? How do you proactively prevent common delays? And what are they? How many jobs will you be running at the same time as mine? And we'd love to see Gantt charts. Some contractors do that, but you probably won't get that. But we would like to see buffers built in for the inevitable that things will go wrong, and crew capacity is clearly explained. We don't want vague timelines, vague language. We hope to get done by. Those are big red flags for you. Project management. This is particularly important if you're not local. You want a single point of contact. Ideally, it's the person you're talking to because that's who you're hiring. But if not, you want to meet that person for sure. How often will you be updated? Are the updates proactive? Will you be reaching out to me, or do I have to track you down for an update? Do you use project management software? Again, this is a nice to have. A lot of guys don't, but if they do, it's a great sign. And we definitely want to see photos, particularly, again, if you're local. Actually, not only just photos, but videos are great, where they're walking around the property, explaining what they're doing, asking you questions, getting clarity. Video updates are the best. Subcontractors, do you use the same subs consistently? Are your subs licensed and insured? If they are willing to share copies of the insurance policies and surety bonds, that would be wonderful. Who's responsible if the subs delay the project? Ideally, this contractor takes full responsibility. Do you do any of the work yourself? That's a big one. Again, not a red flag if they do. We just want to make sure that they have the bandwidth to do it. And what we don't want to hear is, I just kind of call around, see who's available. If they're not big enough to have, especially with skilled contractors, I've had projects blow up for 3 or 4 months looking around for a plumber. They need to be working with the same thing consistently. Keep these guys busy so that they are an A priority and have no problem staffing your project. Permits, inspections, local knowledge. Who pulls permits? The correct answer, you do. You don't want to be pulling, meaning the contractor, not you. Are you familiar with local requirements for, and then fill in whatever you're doing, pools, hot tubs, whatever things you're considering as upgrades? Have you worked in this municipality before? If so, what are the inspectors' names and what do they tend to be sticklers on? Are they all the same, or do they have their own peculiarities? This will give you an indication if they're familiar with working with these guys. How do you handle failed inspections? We definitely, again, want the contractors to pull their own permits and personally know the inspectors and what they're particular about. It is a big bonus, again, if you have a contractor that has specifically worked on STRs and can weigh in and help you with design decisions that work. These things get used hard. This is not like a personal residence. This is not like a vacation property that you just use. For those of you who have had children are figuring out how stuff works and they break stuff and wear stuff out. And short-term renters are the same way. They don't know how your house works. They're on vacation. They're throwing parties. Stuff breaks. It needs to be hardy. So we want to know about finishes that will last. What upgrades reduce maintenance and repairs? Are there any design decisions you'd strongly advise against? So we want to be thinking luxury vinyl planking instead of hardwood, quartz instead of marble for countertops. We want nice, sturdy fixtures, easy to repair systems. We want a football team to be able to run through this thing and have it hold up in the process. Cost segregation. Again, this is a super niche category here, but it is relevant if that's what you're trying to do, because you need this to happen and have this thing ready to rent within the calendar year of starting this rehab. This is absolutely critical. We want costs broken out by category. Can you provide detailed invoices? It's a huge bonus. If they've worked with investors doing cost segregation and they're willing to really partner with you and give you line item invoices, that's wonderful. Seeing things in lump sums or other very vague things just aren't going to work for you if you're doing a cost seg. You need it detailed. Finally, we could do a whole episode. In fact, I probably will now that I'm thinking about it, on draw schedules, but just to 10,000 foot this. What is your draw schedules? What milestones is it tied to? What percentage do you require up front? This is big if you can get it. Do you offer completion incentives or penalties for missed deadlines? Again, I haven't gotten to anybody on the scale of stuff that I do that's willing to do this. The big guys who are building like strip malls and gas stations and hotels and other things, you absolutely can get this. If you're hiring somebody to paint a couple bathrooms and throw some new toilets in, you're not going to get it. But depending on the scale of what you're doing, if you're doing a $200,000 job, it is a reasonable expectation to try to ask for something like this. And we definitely want small deposits. We don't want to run out in front of these guys and have paid for 70% of the work with only 20% of it done. We want milestones tied to completion of specific project phases and or passing various inspections. And we want to be able to withhold at least 10% of the payment till a punch list is done. Finally, again, that's the last one I'm covering here, but you may want to move this way forward on your list depending on how this is going. And if you sense it's not going well, just cut right to this to save yourself and this contractor time, because these are like non-negotiable. We want at least two references from them who are also investors. And you can ask these questions, use the exact words. Did the project finish on time and on budget? What surprised you the most? And leave it open-ended. They can be delightful surprises or they can be terrible surprises. Probably the most important, would you hire them again? Why is that? And why or why not? And what went wrong and how did they handle it? Now, hopefully, they're going to give you two people who are going to say yes to that third question. But my gosh, if they don't, this is not the guy for you. So anyway, that is it for our list of questions to ask contractors for a big STR rehab that you are considering. You can follow if you'd like to see more from me. Take care.